have. We're going to be sharing some scripts with you, some documents that you're going to find helpful. We're going to be, and oftentimes I listen to the calls with investors myself, so I can see, are these legitimate calls? Could I have closed this investor? How would I have done this call differently? And I give you that feedback, because at the end of the day, it's not enough for us to give you the leads. That's great. That's where we can rest our hat on. But I want
you got to keep us going. Yeah. If we don't keep raising money and doing our,
exactly,
doing our thesis, like you're out of 100%. Business. Yeah.
Exactly right. So I'm very motivated in that regard, right? Because we want to build a world-class machine here, not just like another marketing agency that folds in a year.
Yeah. Well, that's how long have you guys been in business?
So we opened our company, the Digital Collective, in 2018. This was between my business partner and friend Chris, who you'll meet. He's kind of the manager of fulfillment. So he's the ads guy. He kind of is in charge of the campaigns. And we started in 2018 in January, and then we served all sorts of industries and niches. And then in 2020, he said, hey, listen, there's this whole syndication world that he had previous experience with. He's been advertising for private equity firms since the inception of the Jobs Act. So that's like 2012.
Yeah.
And so I had never heard about it. Loved the idea of it so much so, that years after, it's now my family's main vehicle for building wealth. And then in 2020, we niched down to serving real estate. We partnered on a GP level with some key sponsors so we could learn, again, applying our full service agency model for private equity firms, learning as much as we can about what works, what doesn't work, what moves the needle. I left the company for a year to go work at CrowdStreet, returned a little over a year ago, and then we rebranded the Digital Collective as Raise Ready. And at this point, we sort of said, okay, we're going to have to, let's do this, not as a full service agency, but as a streamlined solution for raising capital. And so we stripped 95% of we don't do websites anymore. We don't do social media posts anymore. We don't do podcast promotions anymore. We don't write your emails. Yeah. We just focus on getting people conversations with accredited or investors in this case as quickly as possible. And so built a team since then, trained them on standing up these campaigns as quickly as possible in the highest quality. And so that's kind of what you're seeing today.
Yeah, that's cool. There's riches and niches.
It's exactly right. You know what I learned is that if you go broad, you never go deep enough. But if you stay narrow, the depth is infinite. So we'll never reach a point where we're like done. Like there's always new things to learn. Always, the tools that we're using, they continue to evolve, and we're pushing them to the limit every single day. Just get as much, to stay on the cutting edge. Essentially, you probably.
I've dabbled in Meta ads, and man, it's so complex.
It's a scientific machine of
how much it's grown in 5-10 years. It's different every month.
Yeah, I was just reflecting on how far AI has come in the past year. It's tremendous. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember that video of it was one of the first AI videos that went viral. It's of Will Smith eating spaghetti. Have you guys seen this?
Yeah.
There's a video that just got uploaded like a couple of months ago of Will Smith eating spaghetti, and it's a night and day difference. All in like 6 months to 8 months difference. And AI is going to be all these things that I'm talking about with you today about, like, well, you're going to need an appointment set or somebody who answers the call. In half a year, there's going to be an AI calling every single lead. And it's already possible. It's not perfect, and we're experimenting. Trust me, we're trying to get it going as fast as possible. We already have a texting solution.
So you can load in scripts, answers,
qualifying questions, and the investor will not be able to tell a difference, but that they're talking to a machine. It's insane.
And that's the thing. Look, that's the thing that's creepy, because you could actually load my voice in, right? And they think, and that's like. This is a conundrum, right? Like I listen to Entre Leadership sometime with Dave Ramsey, and they were talking about this. He's like, look, we've made a decision that none of the on-air personalities, like you're never going to see an AI version of them. Right. And I'm like, kudos, like but I'm not even thinking about that yet. I haven't even but they have to, because they've got a whole media brand. You got to know, am I seeing, is this really Dave Ramsey, you know, or is this
I know. It's
crazy?
we're so cutting edge that we're always flirting with sort of, how do I say it, with sounding kind of, you know, PG. We're flirting with not going out of business, but man, how do I say this so it doesn't sound wrong? We're so cutting edge that anytime we're waiting for a regulation to come down and say, hey, this isn't allowed anymore. Right. And until then, we're pushing. But there's always going to be kind of a force of like a regulatory force, but there's going to be another force that's sort of like, well, we got to figure out a way around that. Right. And then
Right.
the regulations are going to come in and they're going to say, well, we're going to have to make a fix to this, but they're going to be like, well, we're going to try something like this now. Right. This has been iPhone has been battling with these issues for forever with privacy concerns. Right. They're like, well, we don't want apps to track. Right.
Yeah.
So then Meta came out with another way for us advertisers to plug into our webs that still preserves the ability to track. It's a little bit more setup and it's a little bit more technical.
Right.
But there's always, it's like, you know,
yeah, it's getting around regulatory. Yeah. Well, right? It's like, look, it's like Phillips 66, right? You know, ConocoPhillips, like Phillips 66. When they got started in Oklahoma, it was Indian territory. And the Indian leases, a company could only hold 4,000 acres. So did they stop at 4,000 acres? No, they had like 80 different companies all holding the limit of acreage. You know what I mean? So you just set up a new company. So an entrepreneur, a businessman is going to figure out a way to work around regulation. Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So it makes sense. I hope I didn't tell you something that's going to make you believe that, you know, that we're going to be going out of business because the regulation is going to come down. But that's how you're on the cutting edge, because you're always kind of like, well, this can't be what we're doing now is not going to work a year from now. There's going to be some new tactic, new strategy that we're going to have to employ. Right. And then a year from that, even earlier, because technology and marketing moves so fast, it's not going to be a year. It's going to be every 6 months. We're going to have to pivot. Right.
Everyone thought Facebook ads were down, right? Like everyone thought when that happened with the iPhone and the privacy stuff that Facebook ads were dead, but now that they're still at the top of everything, right?
Yeah, exactly right. And that'll forever be the case.